Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Noodle from Angie Gittles CZT. Now, this is a really neat border tangle. We're going to start off with some orbs. I'm going to put them in a diagonal line. Because this is a border tangle, I have no doubt that you couldn't do these, in a curved line or something. And I'm going to try to draw an even number here. 1, 2, 3. Always looks like I'm going to either have way too much room or not enough room. Now, the reason that I've drawn 8 is because that's what she had in her step out. And I haven't played with it yet to do it. If you do an odd number, it's just you have to. The ending will be a little bit different, and you'll see as we go through. Or you start on the opposite side, or something like that. It's one of those. It will all turn out great. It just seems like most every time I've done it, I ended up with the right number, and then also I didn't play with it the other way. So with that, here we go. So once you have your orbs. If you've done the Tangle Cadent, this is similar to Cadent, the next 2 steps. So we're going to draw an S shape going from the first orb down to the third orb. And we're going to touch the orb in the middle, the second orb. So we're going to use that takeoff and land idea. And if you've never done Cadent and have no idea what I'm talking about, takeoff and land is where we kind of trace over the orb to give us a running start. So we're going to, that's, like our, what do you call it? Runway. So we're going to take off that way. Why don't I just do it? So we're taking off. I'm not going too far out. I'm touching the second one as I'm crossing over, and then coming down on the third one. And then as I land, you trace over that orb. And that's, we have to be careful to, you don't want to get too messy, especially on this one. But it looks a heck of a lot better than I just put my pen here and I go from, from orb to orb. It's something with the, to me, when I look at it, it has to do with, the continuity, the flow, things like that. I can always tell, when somebody, and it's like it's fine if somebody wants to do that. It adds a little something extra to do it this way. All right, now we're going to continue. So we're gonna same thing as we go down the row. So where we landed, we're taking off again, and just being careful. That's why I'm going extra slow, and then around that last orb, and then where we landed, we're taking off, touching the second orb, landing on the third orb, and then we leave this one hanging out. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing mirrored. So just like Cadent, we do the S and we just flip. No, it's funnels that we do the S and then we do the backwards S, and it's a hoot. All right, so we're going to start though now on the second orb down in the same idea, but flipped around the opposite way. So I'm taking off this way, and I'm touching that second one and then landing right here. And so we're also not crossing over. We're just merging right into this other line and coming around. And then again, where we took off, where we landed, we're going to take off. And there we go. And then this one, so touching that second one, and we'll land on that last orb. Okay. Now we're going to do basically some C shapes, and we're going to be going, we're going to be flip-flopping sides, and so maybe it's easier if I just do it instead of explain it and watch first. So well, let me just show. I'm starting about around like the base of this orb, making the curve line up, and then kind of auraing the curve a little bit, like so. And we're going to do 2 on each side to start off with. And I'm starting just a little bit further down, on the second one. So I'm not drawing a line, this way or anything. Like I said, here's the curve line. It's almost like I'm starting at the base of where the orb is where I've put my pen to start that curve line and come down. And then almost like if I pictured an orb here, same thing there. All right, now we're doing that on the flip side, but we're going to the second orb. And you just have to watch where you're going because we're still skipping this second one. And that one is, like I said, the C curved line kind of backwards. And again, we're flipping sides and just doing 2. It's like, I know as you saw that the photo on the cover, it's like, no, there's more. Yes, there's more. But we do 2 first. And again, we're coming into this, same point, basically above that orb. And sometimes mine get a little bit, way out there, but it's okay. It all, like, I do that, like, where I just have gone a little bit too far. And then I just try to make it up on the next one. All right. So once you have 2 on each side, then we're going to go back and we'll finish the rest. All right, so coming back, and this is one of those as many as you need. And so I'm doing these, and I'll put one more in, and then the last one is just going to be a curved line into one of the 2 that we just did. So that's why we're doing 2, so you kind of have a stopping place. And then it gives the impression that, like with the hollow bow technique, that, or the hollow bow concept, we'll say, that, maybe this fan continues underneath, so it gives that layering look. And now we're going to, same thing as we did before, we're flipping sides. And again, what I'm doing is I'm stepping them down a little bit, so that way, and then, hold on, it's like one of those, okay, think or talk. So I'm trying to make this like the fan itself is in a curved shape. So I'm working to start these just a little bit lower each time, so that way I can kind of have that effect. And sometimes it works out great. Whoa, that was interesting. And okay, we'll just put this little curved line here, and that's okay. I cut that one a little too close. So yeah, kind of always coming in to that same point. And this one I'm not curving it like I want to, but that's all right. And this last one, you don't want to come around too far because we don't have anything to connect it with quite yet. And oh no, I have one more. And they say, which brings us to the next step, but not quite yet. And this one, depending on your situation, so mine is right there. I'm going to just kind of draw one off as if, it would go like right here. Okay. Now, next step, once you have all of these done, like I said, the second to last one, don't, my temptation is to kind of, I'll just fill all that in. Don't do that yet. So we're going to put an S shape from connecting these top 2 orbs. So same idea, but we're going actually between the orbs, so like so. And then on the last 2, we are putting, so right here where we have this empty space, sorry, I'm like off, there we go. And where we have this empty space, we're going to just put a curved line, like so, but with the takeoff and land idea. So taking off from one, landing on the other. And then we're going to fill these in, but I want to, because I've already done one with it all colored in. So essentially you could color this in, or, because I thought this was so cool, I mean, this is where you essentially get to decorate. So, in these sections here, normally, I mean, in the step out, it shows coloring them in. And as you can see on that, the opening picture, where it is filled in on another one. But I'm just putting some orbs, getting as small as I can. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill in those little gaps that are left. Because whenever you do something like this, the tangle is actually called a tipple. And I know I have a video on that. And it's just such a neat thing when you fill in. Sometimes it's just literally a dot of the pen. It makes such a world of difference. Now those I have, let's see, I'll color that little bit in the end, because I know that one is sort of an orb. When it gets a little too small, it's hard to tell. But there's always that little triangular bit with the orbs that you're not, I'm going to just fill that in because that looks silly. Yeah. Okay. Resting on my tortillon. And isn't that neat? Okay. And I'll show you the sample that the other one in a moment. But I want to add just a little bit of shading. And I'm just going to do, this one I'm just going to do from the base. So where all of these lines come together. Which also, by the way, well, say if you're familiar with Zentangle, you know the mantra of there's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle. And remember this little bit right here where I cut it in a little bit too quick and I didn't bring it into the fold. This gets covered right up with the shading. And so I didn't mention that as it happened. I'm mentioning it now. So if you're doing this and something happens, always know that you know there are many course corrections that one can take. You know, and even like this, if I didn't like the way these orbs ended up, I can always go back and I can fill in the rest, just like the Tangle shows. There's always that option. And it's a nice option to have because it helps us from getting stressed out about, oh, that didn't turn out right. You know, in the end, it's all good. And, you know, it's just finding a course correction for it. And maybe it just means, oh, I'm gonna color in every other section because now you can have a lot of, you know, fun, you know, just with your creativity. And I just noticed one thing as I'm talking that I wanted to do. I'm like, the end is not feeling quite right, even though, you know, it's still okay. But I think I want to just fill this in maybe a little bit more like that. And then we'll add a little, bring that graphite in there. There we go. But this is where, you know, your creativity, or just, you know, trying some, if you feel challenged creativity wise, which I know I do, at least feel what I call it, spontaneous creativity, that I don't really have that. But there are techniques that we learn in doing Zentangle that you're like, oh, I remember that. I could put that here. And then we just start growing with what we have, and it's just really neat. So there we have it, and it looks really amazing. And as I'm bringing in another one that I had done, this one I added some graphite on the tips, and actually it's kind of neat to see the difference. So it's these kind of tools that that as we practice and we learn different techniques, and then, like I said, it's like pulling a, you know, from your arsenal of ideas and things that you've done. And then we can do that. All right, so here I have put an aura around the entire design, and just, it's neat to look comparison wise how that just finishes it off. Don't have to do it. It's not part of the, you know, part of the Tangle, but it's really neat. And then adding these orbs is really cool, as well as just having it with just the one. They're both really, really neat. So just a couple ideas. I will put a link, if I didn't mention it already, I am doing it now, in the description section with my step outs, as well as a link for more inspiration for the entry of this Tangle on Tangle patterns, because it has, you know, just more information, and has her original step out and other artwork that she's done using this Tangle, just to give you more ideas. And with that, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them. I do my best to answer them, or at least just, you know, give a smiley face back, because I appreciate even the smiley faces to me, and I'll give a smiley face back because it's just nice. If you like the video, thumbs up are greatly appreciated, as well as subscriptions. Feel free to click that subscribe button, and then if you do that, make sure you click the notification bell next to it so you can decide how you want to be notified. All right? And so with that, I wish you happy tangling.